Hello friends! I asked you all for questions on Facebook last week for a big Q&A video, and I got a ton. So many, in fact, that there's no way I can answer them all in one video. Well, I could, but it would be a really long video, so I'm breaking them into bite-sized chunks. So it'll be like 2 or maybe 3 videos. In this one, I'm going to answer some of the more shorter questions and some of the more offbeat questions. Let's do it. First, Rick asks, what was the last book you read? Oh my gosh. I've been reading a lot of art-related books lately, but a few weeks ago I was convinced to watch the Hunger Games movie, and I was so intrigued that I have started to read the series. I listened to the first 2 books on Audible while I was running and hiking and driving, and I got through them really fast. So now I'm actually reading the 3rd book. It's a real book and everything. I checked it out from the library. And reading a real 3-dimensional printed on paper book, I love it. Next is a question from Jonathan. He says, which is your favorite Care Bear and how would you photograph them? Oh, the Care Bears. My favorite would be Love-A-Lot Bear, or Share Bear, or Cheer Bear, or Grumpy Bear, Tenderheart Bear, Funshine Bear. So many bears. Care Bears. They love you. They want you to be happy. Love the Care Bears. Join the Care Bears. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I would photograph them with love and care, and I'd use my pretty white camera to do it with. Rob says, question, if you were going to Disneyland for the full day and go on rides while having a quality camera at your disposal when you're walking about, what is your personal go-to camera? What do you consider as the best lightweight traveling camera, and what essentials would you make sure to bring? Bags, specific brands, lens, or lenses. Thanks in advance for sharing. Disneyland. I love that place. On my last trip, I brought my Nikon 1V1 and a few lenses. I love my Nikon 1 6.7 to 13 millimeter lens because Disneyland is such an assault on the senses. The ultra-wide lens helped just to get it all in. And for me, the style that you can create at Disneyland goes perfectly with ultra-wide. You can get up close to the rides and the visual features while pulling it all together into a single frame. Being close to something and shooting ultra-wide, it really shows how much bigger than life some of the things actually are there. The most important thing to me at Disney, though, is to have a good time and relax. I certainly don't want to be carrying around a whole bunch of gear and stressing out about switching lenses. I would much rather have the lightweight and flexibility of a point and shoot or a small mirrorless camera than the heft and the worry of having an expensive DSLR and lenses while I'm getting on and off the rides. I also have a video where I talk about something that I invented, the Disneyland Camera Index. And you can see it here. Daniel asks, have you ever experimented in bondage photography? Oh, Daniel, you little devil. Wouldn't you like to know? Greg asks a very important question, along with showing me this photo. Red or red? And my answer is red. In truth, I don't actually drink very often, but when I do, and when it's wine, it's definitely red. And now for a photography question from Macro Tiger. Do any top photographers shoot motion picture with continuous lights and get good enough stills for top fashion mags? It sounds like you mean shooting video with continuous lights and then taking frames from the video to be used as photos in magazines. I can't say that this practice is common, but I can't say that no one ever does it either. There's definitely a compromise in quality and resolution when going from the still images of a DSLR or medium format camera down to video resolution. That's changing, but digital video is generally more heavily compressed than still images, as each video frame is only intended to be seen for a fraction of a second. I do think that the edgier magazines like Nylon or maybe Wonderland are stepping outside the box big time, and I guess I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a video still in one of them. Victoria asked me, any ideas on interesting challenges for 30 days of photography? Love your videos and so helpful for me as a 14-year-old. Wow, you're quite the enterprising 14-year-old, Victoria, looking for 30 days of challenging yourself in anything. So let me tell you, I have a million ideas for different things to focus on, but here's one. Do a study of what's around you, at home or at school. Find something pedestrian, but maybe something with some sort of meaning to you, and try to turn it into art. I had a photographer friend of mine one time take a photo of my favorite pair of red glasses sitting on top of one of my favorite books, and now I have it framed in my home. Just find simple objects, but place them within the frame in different variations. This isn't easy, and it can be tough to tell a story with just a few simple things, but When you can do this, you start to see the world differently. Now, Juan wants to know, what do you think of the Nikon 20mm 1.8G lens that just came out? I was thinking of getting it. Seems like a great lens, but I'm inclined to spend less on something like my 24mm f2.8 lens. And if you're shooting a crop sensor camera, I'd probably forego that entirely and shoot with something like the 18-55 kit lens that comes with several of the DX bodies. When I'm shooting wide angle, I rarely make use of wider apertures, so it just wouldn't make sense for me. On to Chip's question. Seen any good movies lately? Which do you prefer, at home or theater, and why? Well, I mentioned a minute ago that I did watch the second Hunger Games movie a couple of weeks ago, and I think that was probably the last movie I watched, but I definitely prefer watching movies at home because I can't curl up in my PJs and eat chips and salsa in the movie theater. Oh, and I can make noise and yell at the screen at home without, like, getting kicked out. Don't cross the streams? He's crossing the streams. Oh, the alien loves the boy. Wait, the guy is actually dead? What? Wait, what just happened? Well, hello there, Gladiator Russell Crowe. And my last question of the day. Chet wants to know if I'll ever go back to being a very smart blonde. Oh goodness, Chet, I have no idea. I've had all sorts of hair colors and styles. Have you seen my video on my hair over the last few years of SnapChick? I'm sure I'll end up blondie again at some point, but I don't know when. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for your questions. And remember, I will be around answering questions on Facebook and on YouTube and in email, but keep your eyes on my Facebook page for my next video where I answer more of your questions.